Hello, my friends. We're going to talk a little bit about the yoga of sleep. Pretty important, as most people at one time or another do suffer some issues with sleep, and it seems to be an epidemic that more and more people are experiencing sleep issues, and it's projected that more people as they get older are going to experience it even more. So, what can we do about it? Well, first, we got to know how important it is to get restorative sleep, deep sleep, not just the fitful sleeping that we sometimes find ourselves experiencing that doesn't restore us for the next day's activities. Poor sleep habits lead to all kinds of health crises. Um, it lowers our immune function. It increases the risk for heart disease. It causes cognitive decline, as well as a mental fog throughout the day. Um, and generally, just makes us feel bad. So we are always better off with a good night's sleep. What is a good night's sleep? Depends on how much sleep you actually need. Doctors generally say between 7 and 9. Find out for yourself. If you want to find that magic spot, most people I think can get by with 7 if it's deep quality sleep. Obviously 8 being better. Um, but experiment and find a pattern that works for you and stick with it every day, including weekends, because you want to establish that circadian rhythm. One of the ways of doing that is early morning sunlight. If possible, within 15 minutes of getting up. If not possible, as early as you can, but soon. And you want it to be early morning light. There's a magical quality to that light that enters you into the beginning of the circadian rhythm. It increases our natural production of cortisol, of adrenaline, of norepinephrine, the stress hormones, which sounds pretty bad. Don't we want to avoid stress? Sort of. Um, Stress hormones don't necessarily cause the stress we're thinking of. It is increasing our ability to respond and live in stressful situations. It's what originally helped us hunt down the woolly mammoth and avoid the saber-toothed tiger. Um, we've sort of lost track. We have an overproduction of it because of that constant stress that we experience through life. We want that natural production just in the right amount that allows us to be responsive through life, not reactive. As well, those very same hormones that we create in the morning, and we can start creating those with breath work, breath of fire in the morning. I'm going to talk about that in just 1 second. But those very same hormones that we produce from that sunlight, from the morning breath, um, as they die off through the course of the day, they are used. The raw material left over, the waste material left over, is used to make serotonin and melatonin, the very same hormones we need to help us rest, digest, and get some sleep. So, how we get up in the morning is going to prepare us for going to sleep. We wake up and we do the breath of fire, which increases very lightly the stress hormones. We get first light. We get out in nature, which helps create a meditative state. It's going to help carry us through the day. It's going to reduce our stress. It's going to increase our productivity, our creativity. We're going to be inspired. Get outside, take a walk, get the sunlight, even if it's cloudy, even if it's raining, and you'll have a better day and you'll sleep better in the evening. Um, Now, when we get towards after dinner, now we're talking serious prep time for sleep, and take it seriously that I am preparing for sleep at this time. Don't narrow your window of eating before you go to bed. Minimum, Ayurvedic science says minimum 2 hours. I think 3 is even better. Do something to help your digestive process, meaning, you know what, after every meal, if you take a 5 or 10 minute walk, gently, doesn't have to be strenuous exercise, stroll through the kitchen, living room, hallway, that kind of stuff, or go outside and just walk your neighborhood block, whatever. Walk after every meal, but particularly after that evening meal because it's generally larger. It shouldn't be, but we'll talk about that on another day. And it'll help your digestion. And after you walk, you can do some very, very light breath work. Just gentle breathing. You want to enter into the parasympathetic state, the rest and digest. So you signal to your body it's time to gradually start shutting down and to help your digestion, especially after the walk. So you're going to be doing just very gentle breathing in for 4, out for 6, or out for 8, always through the nose. You can engage the ujjayi breathing, the ujjayi breath. Remember that ha sound, as if you're fogging up pair of glasses, but with your mouth shut. It calms and soothes and tones the vagal nerve as well. Controls the breath. So if I try to inhale for 4, it always seems like a rush. Same as when I exhale for 8. But when I engage the ujjayi breathing, it's acting as a valve, allowing just enough air for the count of 4 and just enough exhale for the count of 8. So it's not, you can do this for 5 minutes or so. Not a strenuous pranayama breath work. It's just entering us into that parasympathetic to help prepare us for sleep. Try, if you can, shut off all electronics an hour before bed. That's not easy. I know. I don't do it. I try. And if I have some serious sleep issues, which I've had in the past, I do it. The only reason I don't do it is because I'm usually live streaming up until half an hour or so before I go to bed. My bad, but full confession. And then half an hour or so before bed, we're going to start doing very light, non-stimulating type of reading. Pick a holy text. The Bible. Hey, come on, we're yogis here. The Bhagavad Gita, the Upanishads, the Yoga Sutras, Shiva Sutras, Hatha Prapikapa. I'll show you that book sometime because you won't understand me trying to pronounce the title. Or the Tao Te Ching, the Dhammapada from Buddhism. It doesn't matter. A book that is sort of dry, something that maybe you've read for a while, because you don't want to overstimulate the brain. If you're reading a mystery fiction book, it's a page turner. It's called a page turner for a reason. You don't want to go to bed. You keep turning page and your mind is overly active. And you get in bed and you're a little hyped up. You might not feel it, but the brain, it's a little hyped. So you want something that sort of bores you and brings you into that. But there's a lot of benefits to being bored, especially by that type of reading. For one, you're taking those words with you into your sleep, and they're acting as seeds in intent. In Sanskrit, it's called the sankalpa, which literally means intent. We're planting the seed for how we're going to live our lives the next day. You take that deep into your subconscious mind, and then you begin to act it out for the next day. You act out the wisdom of the Tao Te Ching. You act out the wisdom of the Bhagavad Gita. Very valuable, and it helps prepare you for sleep. Before we do that, you can do it before, you can do it after. We're going to do our evening pranayama. I mentioned before the breathing in for 4, exhaling for 8. Breathing in for 4, breathing through the nose, the left side, using the pranayama mudra, Vishnu mudra for 8. Anytime you elongate the exhalation, you enter into the parasympathetic, the rest and digest mode, nervous state. All are good. And I love doing my 4-8 as I'm laying on my back, getting ready to sleep. I generally almost always fall asleep as I'm doing that breath. I shoot for 10 rounds. A round is in and out. I shoot for 10 rounds, and often I'm asleep by 7. Not always, but often. But the one thing that we're going to do right now is called the Serenity breath, also known as the 478 breath. Dr. Andrew Weil um, has done it extensively. He's got some YouTube videos. We're going to do it differently than him. And he simply calls it the 478 breath. He does it with an exhale through the mouth, making a whoosh sound through parsed lips. That's valuable. However, breathing through the nose is more valuable for helping us get to sleep. We're more apt to go into we'll definitely go into the parasympathetic mode when we nasal breathe. As well, he recommends 3 times. Just do the breath 3 times, and he recommends doing it twice a day. Where we're saving it for sleep, and we can do 5 rounds, we can do 10 rounds. We're going to demonstrate 3. Do as many rounds as you need. Sometimes you'll fall asleep as you're shooting for 10 rounds. Let me demonstrate 1 round Andrew Wheels. You can hold your nose. It's good to hold your nose because it enters us into that mammalian dive state I've mentioned before. I don't understand it, but it works. I don't understand the science behind it. So I'm going to breathe in for 4. I'm going to hold my breath for 7. An internal hold, meaning I hold it on the inhalation. And then I'm going to do it Andrew Weil style, and I'm going to exhale with a whoosh for a count of 8. Ready? Very tranquil. Even doing it through the mouth. Your heart rate is lowered. Blood pressure is lowered. And it's just a peaceful, peaceful place. It's even more so when you do it through the nose all the way across. So we're going to do 3 more rounds, and I'm going to do it through the nose. But remember, 3 is just a number that we're demonstrating. You can do it 5 times. You can do it 10 times. I don't think you're ever going to need to do it. I'll get it eventually. More than 10 times. 3 rounds. Breathing in for 4. Holding for a count of 7. Exhaling for a count of 8. 3 rounds. That was 3 rounds. And I'm just enjoying that quiet space for a moment. And there it is. It's called a Serenity breath for a reason. Very tranquil. It'll help you get to sleep. All of these tips will help you get to sleep, but they have to be practiced. It is sleep yoga. One more thing I'm going to mention is through the course of the day, if you get a chance to do some restorative yoga, it doesn't take much. It could be one or two postures, but the postures are going to be shoulder stand or downward dog, or I'm sure there's a yoga term for this, but I don't know it. Up against the wall with your legs up, your legs perpendicular, right? Up against the wall, you're in the L shape. Back is on the floor, legs are propped up against the wall, as straight as you can make them, perfectly straight if you're capable of, because that is where the restoration takes place as you're giving your heart a break, giving your heart a big break. And because now the heart doesn't have to work so hard to bring blood to the extremities, you're also getting the reversal. You're getting blood flowing towards the heart instead of the heart always having to get blood away from it to the extremities. It has a profound effect on your health, on your peacefulness, on your state of mind, reducing stress as well. So, how you get up in the morning is going to prepare you for how you sleep. How you get to sleep is going to prepare you how to wake up in the morning. All right, guys, that is it. The yoga of sleep yoga. Take care.